then started living in Tanzania, I soon started spending a lot of my time with the dogs, with the rescue dogs that were at our shelter back then. And I believe that I felt a lot of comfort there as well, because the language barrier wasn't so much there. And I don't know if you have ever lived and loved a dog, then you just also know how much comfort and how much love it brings into your life and into your, how much companionship is there and how much friendship and family bonding. So I started spending a lot of my time with the rescue dogs and was looking after the sick dogs, and I was then, I would say, immediately confronted with the extreme suffering that the dogs have to go through in Tanzania, because I think the first 5 puppies that we took in my time in Tanzania all passed away, and all in most horrific ways, I would say. Like, they all, they had parvovirus, or there was scorpions attacking them. We had snakes biting dogs. I feel like we had everything. We had a huge problem with aflatoxin, which is like food poisoning for the dogs, and I had to hand feed and bottle feed the puppies for a long time. It was a really, like, I believe it, to some degree, it broke my heart open, and at the same time broke my heart, if that makes sense. I had never felt so much love and so much passion and care, and I just wished to help these puppies as much as I could. But at the same time, I also felt broken by it to some degree, because I had never been confronted with anything like that. And if you have never been confronted with anything like that, that is tough. Like, holding like these little beings when they're suffering, that is really hard. And at the same time, it was such an important time for me, and it was such a beautiful time for me to get to know this love of the puppies as well. And finally as well, one of the puppies did survive, at least for a couple of years. His name was Tiger, and Tiger was, or is, like the best dog that I ever met. Even though I love all the puppies and all the rescues, but Tiger was special to me. And that brought me a little bit of space, a little bit of my space in Tanzania. And then it continued, our journey continued, the miracles continued, if you want to say too. And it happened that my sister and a friend of mine were visiting in the autumn of 2016, and we had an extreme month whilst they were there, because we took in, I don't remember, I believe it was like 18 new children in the matter of a week. And that was crazy, that was intense for all of us. And among these children were 4 children who were below the age of 5 when they arrived with us, and 2 of them, a brother and sister, had been homeless, living on the streets. And the other 2 were 2 sisters who had lost their parents and were taken in by the auntie who physically abused them. And in that time, like, that was a huge change for me as well, again, in my personal journey, because, as I said, I was young when I arrived. I was 21 years old, and for most young people, that is an age where you're discovering yourself and finding out who you want to be in this world and what you want to do with your life, if that makes sense. And for me, I was in this situation where I felt like I had to be someone already for these children and for the rescues. And at the same time, I didn't feel like I was someone yet. That makes sense. And when these young girls arrived, I remember when these two sisters arrived that night, we were supposed to meet up with my sister and my friend who were visiting, to have some dinner together and cook together. And I remember that I went to see them and I couldn't stay because something had shifted that day for me. Because I knew I was there with them and enjoying myself, and I knew that these two little girls were in Featherstale now, not knowing what had happened to them and why they were now there, and feeling totally lost and confused and lonely and isolated and probably broken by what had happened to them by their auntie and by losing their parents to start with. And they were now there, and they were so small, they were so young, and the younger one of them, she just didn't want to let go once you took her in her arm, because she needed someone so much to hold her and just protect her. It was really heartbreaking. So I talked with my sister and I started crying, and I told her, I can't stay here, I have to go back, I have to go to see them, I need to make sure that they're alright, because they're now also my responsibility. And I went back and I laid down with the girls in the bed, and I took them in my arm, and I was just laying with them, and I had no chance to communicate with them properly because they were not speaking any English, of course. So I started singing to them. I remember I started singing the lullabies that I remembered from childhood, and that changed something inside me, I believe. I think that set free some mothering instincts that at that point I didn't know were inside me. But that was a huge moment for me, because before then I absolutely loved the special needs children, and I bonded with them and everything, but there was something else that happened to me. I believe that I felt responsible for them, and I felt like I was needed there. I was able to contribute something there. And looking back now, it is impossible for me to imagine what these girls had to go through, or all of the children that come into our care, truthfully speaking, because my sons are now 2 and 4 years of age. They were the same age like these children when they arrived in our care. And they had been out on the streets by themselves. It's totally mad to think that this is happening to children in this world. And I'm so unbelievably grateful that we are able to provide a solution for this. I'm so grateful that I am living this life, that I can bring a home and security to these children. And I'm so grateful for every single person who is part of this family that we are at Share Tanzania, because we literally couldn't do anything without any one of us. We are all part of this family, and we are all working together to make this happen. And the children need it so much, so desperately. They just need to be held. Like the little girl, she was 3 years, and she just didn't want to let go of any one of us, because she just hoped that anyone would just continue to hold her and not let go of her either. And I hope that we were able to some degree to provide this for her as a big, unusual family. And they are now both much grown. This is this is 6 years ago, so they are much bigger by now. And it's beautiful to see that they're still there. They still have a home here with us. They're still thriving. They're going to school. they're, to some degree, to some small degree, they have found healing. And even though we cannot take away what has happened to them before they came to us, we can ensure at least that they're going to have a safe home and a family that stays, and a family that makes sure that they will be looked after and cared for whilst they're going out to become young women. And I am just incredibly grateful to be part of this journey with you all. And I know that these girls have done something to my heart and to me and to my life path, if you want to say. And I know that we are all connected and that everything happens for a reason, and I'm just grateful that God brought me in at that point to be there when they arrived, because I'm so grateful that they came into my life, and I'm so grateful that I know them, and that I know that they are safe right now. And I'm so grateful for every one of you guys who's making possible that they are safe at this moment. All of the children, not only these 2 girls, but all of the nearly 200 children by now. This is incredible, and this is every single life of these children is an absolute huge success, that they are safe and sound and that they are loved and cared for. I'm so grateful today. I think this is already even enough. Much love, guys. Bye.
Oui. Ah. Petit bébé.